remarkable products. So far we covered more, we covered it from all over the place, and now I want to bring it all together. Everything that we did will kind of tie into that. It's true that some remarkable products were a result of luck. It's true. I mean, I cannot say that all of them were designed this way, but most of them, remarkable was engineered into the product in advance or into the service. It was engineered this way. It was meant to create a product or service that will be successful. Somebody came to me in the break and she asked, how do I create a remarkable campaign or a remarkable promotion or a remarkable advertisement to a remarkable product? And you'll see it, it's exactly the same thing. Okay, it's exactly the same rules that we talked so far. It's exactly the same three strategy I taught you before. Same 5 steps. It really doesn't matter what remarkable you want to create. If it's the marketing campaign or if it's the product or service, all of them are doing the same. So what I would like to share with you right now is how do we create what I call, and I invented that, so that's my name, and maybe somebody else developed something similar, but that's the way I'm using it. It's called S.U.P.E.R, remarkable product. For those that cannot see it, it says S.U.P.E.R. Okay, just write it down, S.U.P.E.R. And S.U.P.E.R is exactly as the same principle as the MGSPI or the SPICE. We call it a technology or a system or a technology. So it's actually 5 steps if you want, S-U-P-E-R. So those are 5 steps. S.U.P.E.R, it's easy to remember, super remarkable product. I want to go quickly over those steps. Many of them or some of them we already covered this way or another. I just want to put them in together. All right, so S. The S. S stands for a solution to a problem. So we talked about it before. I'm just putting it right now in the context. So it has, a remarkable product has to have those 5 parts. I suggest that it will have all the 5 parts if you want it to be successful. The first one, it needs to be a solution to a problem. And that's important because it's a problem for someone, It needs to be a problem for someone, and you want to focus on solving a problem. So we talked about it, to find opportunities, looks for problems. That's as simple as that. They don't have to be huge. They can be irritation. But the truth is that the bigger the problem, what will be the continuation of the sentence? The bigger the problem, the bigger the solution, the more value the solution. The bigger the problem, the easier it will be to sell it. Okay? The bigger the problem you're solving, the easier it will be to sell it, sorry. So if you right now have a solution for cancer, which is a big problem, then it will be easier for you to sell that. You just tell people, I have a cure for cancer, and everybody will jump on you. Okay? If you have a solution for a small problem, then it will be harder to sell. That's all. Okay? Look for what bugs you, what irritates you, what bugs you in the different areas of your life, especially in your profession, especially in your expertise. So, I gave you quite a few examples throughout the day. I don't want to repeat the details, but remember, Otis elevators solved a big problem for the architects. Instead of building more elevators, which they cannot rent the place then anymore, they found a different solution, very different, just by changing the software. If I talked about this taxi that drives only teenagers and kids in Israel, this has solved the problem for the mothers or for the parents for those kids. Okay? Or the taxi for the women in India, same thing. It solves a problem. It doesn't have to be a big problem. Most of the trainings that we developed were a solution for a problem that we had. For example, we have the business university. We don't give the business university anymore in that structure. We divided it over 2 years. What we did now from this year was the last Life Skills University and last Business University, because from next year we call it differently. We call it year 2 and year 3, and we just mix them up. So we have a few models from the Business University and a few models from the Life Skills University in 1 year, and the next year is the rest. And that's in order to help you get more out of it. Because one of the problems that we hear from people or challenges is they say, listen, in January I learned how to write a book, and in March I learned how to present this material, and then in May I learned how to make it into a product that will generate for me passive income. But that gives me 2 months that I need to create everything. Now I'm saying, well, you can write a book in 28 days, but in actuality, people don't take 28 days, they take more time. And what happens is that people get stuck because they write part of the book or the blueprint and part of the book, and then they get, but now we need to start practicing for the presentations on that material. And before they get that totally done, then they start with the product, which is supposed to be based on that material. And some people are doing it, and those are the people that are running ahead very fast. And some people, it's a struggle, and we heard that. And we say, okay, we heard you. So next year is going to be different. Next year, the Write Your Book is in January, the Master Presenter is in May, 4 months later, and the passive income is 4 months later. So you have double the time to create everything. And in between, instead of giving you more homework, if you want, we give you the most important or the first modules of the Life Skills University, which don't have any homework. It just gives you more skills for life. And the second year, we do the same. So you get more time. It was our way to listen to the problem that you haven't come up with a solution. So you see, we just changed the order. We didn't change a lot of the material. We changed the order. We deliver a better product. Does that make sense? Okay, so look for a solution to problems. Okay, look for a solution to problem. Let's take 1 minute for that, and I'm not going to give you to share about that, but I want you to have it in front of you. Can you write a list of problems that right now people in your market might have, either with your products or, in general, in your area of expertise? 1, 2, 3 of those problems that you know that they have. All right. Whatever you wrote, you wrote. Whatever you wrote is wrong anyway. I did it on purpose, this exercise, because this is what you do anyway. And this is wrong to do. You don't have a clue. Whatever you wrote there, those are your ideas. And that's not necessarily true, and that's not necessarily that those are the most important thing for them. That's also through your own glasses what you can actually solve instead of what they are really suffering from. What's the best way for you to go know what are the problems? Ask them. If you will notice, if you're reading weekly our newsletter, you will see that once every few months, there is suddenly a question. What's your biggest challenge in your business? What don't you like about that? What is your biggest frustration? It will appear, and we will have hundreds of people answering that. Okay, you can ask people, what don't you like about your, about your business, or about what are your biggest challenges in your business, if you were mine. I can ask you, what don't you like about our trainings? We ask that. And we are willing to put that out there. It's in a blog post. People will ask, what don't you like about the business bootcamp? And we'll get from people. And it's not that I need to solve everything. I will choose those things that most people are suffering from and that I can and want to solve. But you need to get it from them. Don't try to guess it. Okay, most of you just did now, and many of you will go with total confidence that this is true. That these are the problems of your target audience, or this is the challenges that they have, or these are the irritations. And many times they're not. Okay, so I really want you to ask them for that. This is basic Master Entrepreneur first session. Okay, ask your audience. As soon as you know who they are, you know where to find them, ask them. You can ask them on forums, you can ask them on LinkedIn, you can ask them on Facebook, you can ask them in an email, you can ask them on a blog, you can go in a network event where you can find them and talk to them. Just ask them what is irritating for them, what is the problem, and then find a solution for that, not what you think. This is really, really important. So this is the first one, solution. Now, the next one is you, the you for that. And I will give you the word in a minute, but what the problem that I have with people is that when I ask people, do you have a remarkable product? 90% of the people I meet, they say yes. And somebody said to me next to me in lunch, and she said, well, what my biggest insight so far was that I need to lower my ego and realize that my product is not remarkable and I need to improve. And the point is that most of us think that our product is remarkable because we confuse remarkable with the second step. The second step, the U, stands for unique. And we are confused to think that if we have something that is unique, which I will challenge you anyway on that if it's really unique, but even if it is unique, that doesn't make it remarkable. There's lots of unique stuff that are totally not remarkable, or they are remarkable on the other side. People will say it's uniquely disgusting, or whatever it is. So unique doesn't make it remarkable. Okay, it's one of the things, and it has to be there, but it's not even the first. It's by order. You first need to solve a problem, then solve it uniquely. So that's the second. So the second one is U, is standing for unique. And get that. If your product is a little bit better, a little bit cheaper, a little bit easier, a little bit faster, it's not going to make it. It's just not going to make it. It needs to be a lot bigger, better, different, whatever it is. Okay, you're just wasting your time otherwise. It needs to be very different and much better. Okay, which means it needs to be somewhere out there, unique. And it's not so difficult. It's really not so difficult. It just means that you need to step out of your thinking that yours is already either unique or remarkable. For example, I met this guy. He's a life coach. How many of you life coaches are here? Working with people, one-on-one. Wonderful. So this guy is getting $50,000 for a week. Okay? So it's a little bit more than what you get. But he does a little bit something that most of you don't do. What he does is for a week, he's becoming your shadow. He's living in your house. He's going with you to work. He goes with you to any meetings that you're going to do. I think the only place he doesn't go is the shower and the toilet. Everywhere else is with you. And he's watching everything that you're doing. When you're his client, he's watching everything that you do. And whenever he sees you falling into traps or the stuff that you're anyway doing with your people, you just tell them on the spot. So in a week, the jump that people can get in awareness as a result of that is much bigger. And he charges $50,000 for that. I don't know even if it's a good price. I don't know if I would like to live as a shadow for somebody for $50,000, for a week. But, imagine that he can work 4 weeks a year and he's made $200,000 and he doesn't have to work the rest of the year. Okay? But it's the same service that you're giving, but you're giving it as 1 hour, that people come to your office and talk about it. He's just being there, watching what they're doing, and then giving them feedback on the spot, how much easier it is. Now, not everybody is willing to have that, but those people that are willing are also willing to pay $50,000, and this guy is working all the time. All the time. It's a life coach, guys. It's a life coach. But he created something unique. There's another life coach that you might know. His specialty, or used to be a specialty, is that he will solve your problem in one session. And he's talking about big problems. Suicidal, people that are suicidal, people that are having phobias, heavy phobias, people that have, strong issues. But his commitment is that he will solve it to you in one session. And at one point, he got so famous that he started to get $1 million for that. Anybody knows his name? Tony Robbins. That's how Tony Robbins started. He didn't start as a trainer. He started as a coach that managed to solve problems and show them that in one session I will get rid of your phobia or your suicidal tendency and everything. And he got to a point that as a coach he would get $1 million, not for a session but for over a year. But he would get $1 million clients. He's a coach, but he was unique in the fact that he told you, I will solve your problem in one session. If you can do that, you don't have to solve every problem. Just tell them that I will solve this problem for you in one session, and you become unique. I was sharing I think in the business bootcamp, I'm sharing often the story of the cab driver from New York. It's from old days when I used to live in Manhattan, and the yellow cabs in New York are not known for their cleanliness, for example. I mean, actually, they are known for their dirtiness. Okay, you know that you shouldn't put your hands on anywhere in a cab. There, it's everything. It's always dirty. It's always in the summer of very very hot in New York, the air condition never works. It's always broken. And in the winter, the windows are broken, so they cannot put it up. So you're freezing in the cab. And they are known for being very rude. The cab drivers. And in the past, I don't think today anymore, but in the past when I used to live there, they were also known that if you don't know the way, they will make sure that you will take the long route. Okay, that's what it was. Until one day I'm going down, I ordered a taxi by phone. I'm going down from my apartment, and I find this cab in front of me. Before I could be impressed from the cab even, and the guy jumped out of it, and he was wearing a suit and a tie and everything. And he came out, and he opened the door for me. He took my suitcase, put it in the back, but he opened the door for me so I can come in. And I was impressed because I could eat from the seats. I mean, it was clean as if it went out of the factory, and my mother went over it first. Okay, I mean, it was so clean, it was unbelievable. And I came into to the taxi, he closes the door, he sits in there, and then he asks me, so, we're going to go to he asked me where I want to go. I said to the airport. He says, listen, the shortest way is to go through this, through this tunnel, whatever it was. But right now I heard in the radio, that's before the days of TomTom and everything, I heard in the radio that there's quite some fillers there or some traffic. So I suggest to go through this. It's a longer one, but it will get you faster there. But it's your choice, it's your money. And he says, fine, if you say that this is the fastest way, then go this way. And then he's still not driving anywhere. He's just looking at me and he says, listen, we are having about 35 minutes to the airport. So there's some sodas, so there's a cola and there's a Sprite or whatever it is, and there's some water if you prefer that. It's on the house, just take what you want. And it was, it was a can of cola or a bottle of water. It's on the house. And he says, if you don't like cold, I have on front, I have the thermos of coffee and a thermos of tea. Just tell me what you prefer before I start so I can give it to you. I mean, this is a little bit different than the usual service you get there. He's not driving yet. I took I don't know, water or whatever it is, and he says, listen, because we have 35 minutes, it might take some time. I have some magazines, I have some newspapers from today. All of those are there. There's kind of a rack next to it. And he says, but if you prefer anything else, any other type of magazine, in the corner here, there's this newsstand, and just tell me what you want and I'll buy it for you. It's on the house, whatever you want. All right. And remember, all those things are very cheap for him. It's $1 per magazine, it's $1 per can. But see what happens as a result of the service. And he starts driving, and at one point he points to me and says, listen, I don't know what type of music you want, but I probably have any type of music you want. So from opera to jazz to rock, whatever it is, just tell me what you prefer, and I will put something. And if you want, if you prefer not to listen to music, I'm very happy to talk to you throughout the drive. I'm willing to talk on any subject in the world except two. Religion and politics, Everything else I'm happy to talk. But if you prefer me to shut up and to let you rest for that, that's not a problem, just let me know. And it continued this way, for the whole drive. And we got to the airport, and he went out, jumped out, opened the door for me, gave me the suitcase, and he gave me 3 cards, and he says, if you're ever in town, or if you know anybody that is in town and need a cab, could you give them that card? Do you think I use those cards? All the time. I made copies of those, I think. And what the interesting thing was about that is that I don't remember today how much it cost me, but let's say it was $30 or $40 or $50. How much do you think I paid him a tip? Yeah, well, no, I paid him more than the drive I paid him for the tip, and I'm pretty sure that everybody else did the same. And that's, this is a service if you want, and we're talking about the unique. So this is a unique service. Everybody is a cab driver in New York. I mean, you have thousands of them, and still one managed to get himself out of this look like everybody else. I took once a cab in London, I think from the airport or whatever with Bird, and this guy was having the harmonica. What is it called, harmonica? The one that you're... Yeah, you know what? He had it around his waist, his neck, and his thing was that he can either play the harmonica or sing any aria you want from any opera. And he would challenge us for that. And we don't know anything about opera, but Verd was trying to figure out stuff that she remembered and whatever. And he would just sing to you. He was actually a musician in heart, and his passion was music. But he found himself, driving a cab for whatever reason, I don't know. But he would sing all day long. Make people happy. Again, this makes him unique and gets lots of money. And in that connection, there is a restaurant in Amsterdam that's called Pasta y Basta. Anybody have been in Pasta y Basta? I don't remember. I was there a couple of times. I don't remember if the food is really good. But it's the waiters, it's an Italian restaurant, how good it can be. How bad it can be. It's somewhere in the middle. So it's not something unique and it's not something special. But what is unique about them, what they found as a unique, the you for them, is that all the waiters and waitresses, at least then, I don't know if today, but I guess it's the same, are students from the music school around the corner, whatever it is, and they are just bursting into singing throughout the restaurant. Every time somebody is suddenly doing an aria from an opera, or somebody is doing a Frank Sinatra, or whatever it is, and you can ask your own waiters what you want, waiter or waitress, what you want to hear, and they will just do it for you. So it's a unique experience that you get compared to all the other Italian restaurants. Food is not very special there, but the service is different. Does that make sense? So you for unique. Are we clear? We'll let you later work that into your business, but this is important, and most of you get that, but you think that this is the only thing for remarkable, and this is only one. The next one is standing for P. The P. And the P stands for 2 things, and you don't need to do both of them, but at least one of them needs to be there. My favorite and my preference for you, that the P will stand for positioning. Have a different positioning. Like Starbucks created this family feeling, by being familiar with you, by putting your name on the cup and calling you by first name. Apple products, positioning their products as, especially at the beginning, they would position it, for the misfits and the outsiders and the people the rebels, they were, especially the Macs, the computers and everything, was all about, the very special people. So that was their positioning, okay? We are changing our positioning right now with the company. So positioning is very, very important, and I don't go too much into that because really in the Master Entrepreneur we spend a whole session about positioning. The other P that you can use, it's not my favorite, but you can use that, it's pricing. It's pricing, which means if you give something which is very, very, very low price, or preferably free, or very, very, very high price, you immediately put yourself in a different position. You make it immediately talkable. People will talk about it. People will talk about if it's free, if it's something that people expect to pay money and it's free. That's what happened with the business bootcamp. People talk about it like crazy because 2 days training, people know that it's worth something at the end and it's free. So that's people would talk about it. But also if something is very expensive, if I would offer you a mobile phone or forget a mobile phone, a meal, and there is something in the meal that is cost 2,000 euros, the dish, whatever it is, even if you want to eat about it, you will want to know about it, you will be curious, and you will talk about it. And the media will jump on that. Does that make sense? So it doesn't have to be very cheap, it can be very expensive, but price can play. I don't like it so much because there is no problem to anybody else to imitate that. There is no, there's no patent or anything that you can take on a price. Everybody can do that. So if you're doing something that is free, somebody else can do something that is free. And if it's very expensive, everybody can make it a little bit more expensive than you. There is one thing that makes a product remarkable, and this is a nasty trick. It works like crazy. If you want to create a remarkable product easily, the easiest way is look at what your biggest competitor, if possible a big company that everybody knows in your field, have a look on what is the product that is most popular from them. Whatever it is, what is the product or service that is more popular, and service is much easier, and just give this product for free. For free. Which means that, let's say that I would see that a big company in our field are creating as a kind of a training, I don't know what, 3-day training in order to teach you how to do something. And I will just figure it out that that's the most popular stuff they're doing, and they're charging 2,000 euros for that. And I will do exactly the same, I mean, my way and everything, but exactly the same principle to the same target audience, and I will charge exactly 0 for that. I'm throwing them out of the water. And people will talk about you. Does that make sense? Okay, and when you do that, that's the reason why I mentioned that his nasty trick a little bit is because they don't have anything to do about it anymore. Because if that was their main product and that's how they made their money, and now right now somebody else is doing it for free, but at least as good as they do that, they cannot do a lot about it. They cannot cut it to 0 anyway, also because that was their main way of making money. Does that make sense? Okay, so just price can play with that, can make it remarkable. This is the best way to do that if you want. So this is P. E should figure it out yourself, right? What is E in order to make something remarkable? What needs to be remarkable then in E? What is it? No. But almost. Experience, yes, experience. 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 We talked a lot about it. That's the whole wow factor is an experience that people have, from the dancing stewardess to the sea taste restaurant when you're eating in the dark. They say that, and I believe that it's true, today we're living in the experience economy. For people, they pay more for the experience than the product. They even notice the experience more than the product. And just to give you an example that you all know, is how many of you it ever happened to you that you went to a restaurant and the food was great, but the service was lousy. Okay? How many of you came back to that restaurant? Nobody, right? But look at the other way around. Okay? The food was okay, there was nothing to write home about, but the service was special or superb or something like that. Would you come back? Yes. Absolutely, time and time and time again. Not expecting a lot from the food, but you come for the experience. And we do that in a lot of more products. I mean, the business bootcamp, people come for the experience. Otherwise, why would they come 6 or 7 or 8 times? Okay, they come for the experience, the inspiration, the energy, and less for the content. The content doesn't change so much. Okay, so experience is important. So that's the E of the super. And the last one, and maybe the most crucial, and the one that I'm afraid that many of you are falling into that again and again. Anybody has a guess what the R stands for? No, results we talked about it, but you called it solution. That was the first. You're right, that's important, but that's the solution. R, what I call R, is for relevant. And relevant is important because it's relevant to what? To them, to your target audience, relevant to them. If you want it to become remarkable, it needs to be very, very relevant to them, preferably a small niche of your market, like Kurad with the pleisters for the kids. That was very, very clear who the target audience was. Harley Davidson is targeting very, very specific target audience, and it caters for them really well. Okay, and it changes it with the years, but they cater for those people. And that's important. So this is super. That's it. It's not very complicated. It's not a rocket science. But when you have all those 5 in your product or service, your chances to create something remarkable are remarkably high. After we covered quite a lot of stuff about remarkable product, how many of you feel a little bit more equipped to be able to improve or create new products that are more remarkable? Wonderful. So here is the next step. If that stays in your notebook as a good idea, that's what it will stay. Okay? On the other hand, if you will take time to go over your material again, when you have some time, take 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is, and just think of one of your products or services and say, I want to improve that. Let's go over all the stuff that we learned, how to get more wow. How do I bring up those the 3 ways to bring $1 million ideas? What can I implement? How do I make it more super? So in all of those, and just spend that time. How many of you did the Master Entrepreneur already? All right, so that's a big group in the room. You already know that you need more than one product. You know that you need at least a front end and 2 or 3 backends at least. So if you already have them, you need to improve all of them. It's not just the products that you get paid for, it's also the front end needs to be remarkable. If you don't have one of those products, you don't have yet the front end, you don't have yet one of the backends or whatever, then create it from scratch. It's so much easier to create from scratch a remarkable product than to improve something that is already existing. Okay, that's at least my experience. So use that, use this material. For those of you that didn't do the Master Entrepreneur yet, when you come, we'll teach you how to do several products that you need, and then you already know how to create them more remarkable. The reason why I think we're the only place in the world that I know that emphasize so much the remarkable product stuff, because I believe that this is where the economy takes us. There is no chance for products that are Me Too kind of products anymore, or products that are okay, or even good products. There's just no place for them anymore. People are choosing today for what is creating for them wow. Wow in the product, wow in the experience, wow in all those things that we mentioned. You have an advantage now that you have it. If you will let it go without using it, that's your miss, okay? Your choice. I hope that you will do something with that.